Actually, I'll wait till you hit. Good evening, everyone. I am so happy that you made it here with us. Thank you so much. Welcome to the Abundant Life Collective. This is our Wellness Wednesday gathering / webinar where we share all kinds of great tips and tricks for you or with you. My name is Sarah Koval. I am here in Laconia, New Hampshire. We were just talking about the temperatures, and it is very cold here tonight. It's very cold, it seems like, in lots of places. So we're all bundled up, drinking some tea, and we are happy to have you here with us. So the Abundant Life Collective is a group of doctors, PAs, PTs, OTs, trainers, nutritionists, and other health professionals. Oh, by the way, I'm a wilderness EMT, and I teach emergency medicine. So I forgot to mention that. So that's how I'm involved in this space, and I'm one of the founding members as well. So we are a diverse community of very heart-centered people who work to empower individuals on their journey to better health and financial well-being. We value harmony, inclusivity, and growth, and we offer a supportive space to build health, wealth, and connection. We believe that the journey should be fun. Expect lots of community, celebration, and joy along the way. We have a Facebook group that JoJo will put into the comments. So please check out our Facebook group. We would love to have you there. We get together the first and third Wednesday of every month, same place, same channel here at 8 o'clock for 30 minutes. And every week we have a different expert that we welcome, and they share their top tips with the community. If you would love to be one of our guest experts, please reach out through the Calendly link that we will put in the chat. JoJo will drop that down into the chat. If something piques your interest that either of the guests are talking about, please feel free to reach out to them. JoJo will also put their information in the chat. And we would love to further talk with you about any of these topics and caring for your clients. And tonight's topic is preventing burnout. So I am so excited to have you all here. First, I would like to introduce Dan Catuccio. I hope that I said that right, Dan. It is an absolute pleasure to meet you. I've heard about you so much from Pam over the last several months, and I'm finally so excited to meet you. And I finally checked out your socials, and you are so much fun, and you care about your patients so much. So I am just so excited to have you here. I'm going to have Dan introduce himself in a moment, but I just want to let you know that he has 20 years of home healthcare experience. He has spent years as an educator for his company's fall prevention program, Balance and Vestibular. And outside of healthcare, he felt called to utilize his passions to start a side business as a wedding pianist. That is so cool. While concurrently becoming a content creator, bringing both comedic and educational healthcare content to social media. So Dan, welcome. I am so excited to finally meet you in person, and take it away. And please tell us a little bit more about where you are and what you do.
Absolutely. Well, number one, thank you for having me. So yes, my name is Dan Catuccio. I've been a PT 21 years. Graduated from University of Hartford, where I met my wife, who is also a physical therapist. We graduated together, went traveling together around the country for 5 years, doing all sorts of settings. And then we settled in Connecticut, where I'm originally from. In Coventry is like the northeast corner. It's like the quiet corner of Connecticut, which I like. We got some land, we got some chickens, and so we have 3 daughters together, and I've been like I said, a PT for 20 years. And as far as, we'll get to the topic of what we'll be talking about, but yeah, as far as the wedding side pianist, I started that 5 years ago because I needed a change. I think I get bored quite easily, honestly. And which I think is a healthy thing to eventually see in yourself, that you don't necessarily have to do the exact same thing forever and ever and ever and ever same way. So yeah, 5 years ago I started as a wedding pianist. It's been a really fun journey because it's entirely different from healthcare. So yeah,
that is really awesome. So do you just play whatever you want, or do you play in a band? I know this is not the healthcare part, but
no, it's totally cool. So I'm solo. People will reach out to me to collaborate and stuff, but because I have a family, because I'm a physical therapist, because I have a lot going on, I've always wanted to just do my own thing, so that I don't have to practice with other people. I can just, so yeah, I take requests from brides and grooms, and I kind of make their their wedding dream visions come true. I play by ear, so they'll tell me the songs that they want, and if it's not already in my repertoire, I will figure it out for them and make sure they fall in love with it before we do it.
So interesting. It's so fun. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And I will introduce Pam when she's ready to talk. So if you would like to go ahead, we'd love to hear you.
All right. You said you're going to introduce Pam, or you're going to have me
I'm
go
gonna
first?
wait until Pam speaks, if you're okay
Oh,
with that.
absolutely.
Okay.
I think I had told Dan that I was going to go first.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what you're waiting for. All right. So our other expert tonight is, and I should have checked with you first, Pam. I'm so sorry about that.
Okay.
Is Pam Nyatsambo. I have been the luckiest person to have been friends with Pam for the past 4 years, starting to head towards 5 years now. Both Pam and I live here in New Hampshire, and Pam is also a physical therapist. So Pam, please feel free to introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about you, and we're so happy to have you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So I have been a physical therapist now for 26 years. I'm a little bit older than Dan, and I've done probably half of my time in home care and half of my time in skilled nursing. It's something I had set off to do when I was like, I got injured when I was 14 years old. I needed rehab. I figured that's what I would do. So it's been like a lifetime of being involved in the healthcare system. Because even during school, 6 years of school, I was working during, co-ops and affiliations. So it's been an interesting journey to see, where the country has gone with healthcare over the last really 30 years. But I was very passionate about this topic of burnout because Dan and I actually met in a Facebook group for other healthcare practitioners that were kind of looking for alternative careers. And him and I both kind of settled on side hustles roughly around the same time. So we've had fun supporting each other in our passions. And it's pretty clear, at least to me, that like the passion that we get from our side hustle like helps to make our regular physical therapy job just so much more enjoyable and just breathes life into it. And then we're able to breathe a little bit of life into the group that we're in because there's some people that are just, still stuck in the pre-burnout or burnout or even post-burnout stage and just really feeling the pull. So I had gone over a few of these little topics on one of our prior webinars, but yeah, I mean, this is for clinicians, so I don't need to explain to clinicians what the challenges are, but in case this gets out of the group, clinicians right now are really struggling because we have just so much documentation. It's just excessive. We have to deal with these insurance authorizations. Dan and I kind of commiserate about that online. There's during COVID did not help with, staffing whatsoever. We have really high caseloads at time. We can feel a lack of appreciation, a lack of autonomy, especially when, we've gone to school for so long and invested so much. And basically a calculator is like telling us how many visits we can see for patients. And we got into this, every one of these clinicians got into this because they wanted to help people. So feeling like you're so stifled and you seeing, I mean, it's not like you're working with widgets or something, you're working with families. And it's really, really hard to see them not get the services they need. So, we can develop a sort of compassion fatigue related to that. And then just, productivity requirements are always changing. Guidelines for Medicare and all the insurance companies are constantly changing. And then just, often, probably most people feel this, but like a lot of times people don't feel like their, wages are commensurate with, their work and then, or keeping up with the cost of living these days. So it's very easy to see why clinicians would get burned out. So it was my side hustle actually involved nutrition and coaching people with nutrition, like and wellness choices, and not just nutrition, but almost lifestyle choices. And so it was around that time that was introduced by Crystal Small, occupational therapist that I used to work with in home care. And I just changed a few things in my regimen and it really like it gave me better sleep, it gave me better stress management, and gave me better energy, it gave me better mood. And then that gave me leverage to like do other things that were beneficial. So I just want to talk about a couple like of the more simple things that are, really they're just so foundational and so core, and everybody knows, the basics of them, but it's just, trying to get like 1% better every day, where you can actually get some momentum. So just as far as the nutrition is concerned, obviously it's like you are what you eat, so we are like little machines, our mitochondria are really energy machines. So if you're not fueling your body with the foundational nutrients it needs, then you're really going to be trying to work running on empty, because it's not like we're working and then we're often doing another side job. And then we also have, a full-time family. And then, with this kind of sandwich generation of ours, we may also have like elderly, parents that also might need more help, or, a lot of us are involved in our community and churches and missions and, charitable events and stuff. So we want to do everything for everyone, especially, this compassionate group, but we often put ourselves last. That's very, very common for this type of personality. And we often don't know it until we're literally running on fumes. So it's kind of like that concept. It's like you really have to put your own oxygen on first before you can help other people. So some of the things that I changed, because I'm in the car all day, I really needed something that was like convenient for food. So I just started adding more protein smoothies, and they were really rich in protein, but not just that, but like fiber, which is really filling. So about 10 years ago, actually, I switched to like a low glycemic diet, and just having that blood sugar stability and like the reduction in crashes and fatigue and brain fog, that helped immensely. Like I cannot recommend enough to like cutting out, highly concentrated sweets. Especially if you have a sensitive system. I'm really sensitive to caffeine. I'm really sensitive to sugar. So just keeping like a moderate level of sugar really just helped me, which sounds so basic. But then, adding more protein. Now it's really recommended that you get 1 gram of protein per pound of ideal body weight, especially as you age, because you're not really converting protein into muscle as readily when you're getting older as you did when you were younger. So, if you wanted to be 140 pounds, you'd, ideally get in 140 grams of protein per day, kind of split into, 3 to 5 meal windows. It's really, if you think about food as medicine, it's really like, you take medicine at a certain frequency and a certain dose. And like with food, you really want to take a certain dose, like 30 grams, and you want to take it at a certain frequency. Like, take it and then like give your stomach digestion rest time for like 3 or 4 hours, and then have another, enough. There's thresholds of protein that count. Like you want to get in like a minimum of 10 grams of protein, but ideally like 30 to 40, for muscle preservation. And we know now that like your muscle is like a huge part of your metabolic engine. So doing that, adding more fiber, and then adaptogens have been huge. I'm sure a lot of people are hearing more about them now, especially on social media, but they're herbs and botanicals that are grown in really harsh environments, and their ability to thrive in those environments converts into your ability to thrive in those environments. So I take an ionic elixir in the morning, and actually I've been starting to take it later at night too to help me sleep. And it really reads your body. So if you need to be up, it brings you up. If you need to be down, it brings you down, because it literally adapts to your needs. So that was a huge bonus that Crystal introduced me to. And then just really, so, prioritizing food, prioritizing hydration, getting in like an ounce per pound of body weight or whatever. Like I get in like 125 ounces of water with electrolytes every day. And if I don't, I really just feel drained. And then sleep, really trying to be conscientious about, seeing the sunrise, getting that first light, kind of limiting blue light at night, and just being good about sleep hygiene, not having your phone dinging, or, lights or sounds or pets or what have you, in the room. so you have a more solid sleep. So just, and then obviously there's a whole like exercise piece, staying strong and stuff, but just as far as the basics of like food, water, and sleep, those really have made all the difference for me. So I would like to pass it up to you.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Pam. That was really awesome. I love how you started saying, and I know at the beginning we were talking about how both of you have side hustles. And because your side hustles are something that you are really passionate about, that passion gives you energy and makes you even better for your patients. So that's really awesome that you both have side hustles and that they're both different. Like, that is really cool. Um, and as for your side hustle, yours is nutrition and helping people stay well. I really appreciated how you talked about food as our medicine and using food like medicine, using food like fuel. And that was really helpful. And talking about adaptogens and electrolytes, like such cool things. So thank you so much for sharing.
You're
And I
welcome.
would love to have Dan introduce
All
Dan now.
right.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you. So yeah, speaking of a side hustle, so being a wedding pianist is one of them, but another side hustle is content creation on Facebook and Instagram. Probably, I don't know, 4 years ago, Facebook recognized that I like to pump out content to kind of encourage, but also make people laugh. And so they started to monetize me for that. And so um, that as a whole aside is another, I get energy from that too. So, I mean, having a platform to be able to encourage others and love on others has been really, really special, but also being able, like the amount of times I get people messaging me saying, oh, you made me laugh this morning. I needed that. It's just really super special. I have like directors of companies around the country who are like, I played some of your, I hope you don't mind, I played some of your stuff at our meetings just to kind of like encourage others. That's really special and nice. In getting into that, it's also where I've seen a lot on Facebook of the group that Pam was talking about, that we read about burnout just every day. I mean, every day. And I think that yes, healthcare is a special place for burnout, but burnout is really anywhere, anywhere and everywhere. So what I like to, and so I mean, in healthcare and in jobs where we care for others, I think that innate in our personalities is such a thing as going above and beyond, overachieving, taking whatever is thrown at us, and doing everything we can for our patients, everything we can over and over. And there comes a point in some people's lives where they find they've got nothing left to give. They've given they've given of themselves over and over. We want to care and love on our patients, but we have to remind ourselves how desperately important it is to love on ourselves while doing it, or else it does cause some really negative effects. I don't want to use the word self-implosion, but man, I was there. I mean, I was at a point 5 years ago where I desperately needed a change that I could use to be able to be kind of an outlet of something totally different, another way of making money and supporting my family, but being a little bit different than healthcare. But getting into reduction of burnout, because I'm going to talk on few points that I think will be fairly basic, but maybe not so much. And I hope that you can take something good from it. Number one, finding the good fruit within your field, the reasons why you're there, the reasons why you don't want to leave, the good that comes from your field. I'll use home care as an example, right? So I've been able to get my daughters on the bus ever since they got on the bus because of the flexibility that home care offers. Sounds like a small thing. It's a very big thing. This is a reason why. So I need to celebrate those little things and kind of take notice intentionally of those things to be able to really celebrate that it's a beautiful thing that I'm being able to do because of home care. I've been able to go to their sporting events afterwards, after work, because again, the flexibility allows me to do that. Number two, I'm outside. I have the sunshine coming through my car window. These are things that, again, if I was surrounded by four walls, I wouldn't be able to necessarily celebrate those things as much. So I'll bring my patients outside. I will use the environment that I have to my advantage and to the patient's advantage. Um, I want to talk about, I mean, I'll go for walks and document. I mean, I now have a phone for all my documentation. I will voice dictate on a trail sometimes because you do kind of what you have to do. Now, in my 20s, I was a workhorse, and I remember being really jealous of nurses because they could work as much overtime as they wanted, and I wanted to make as much money as I could to support my family. And I got into my 30s and I had kids, and like there came a point where I'm like, man, I need to like take a breath. I need to take a breather. So what I'm really trying to do is to be cognizant of the fact that our bodies do need decompression. And we cannot be workhorses 24/7 like maybe we used to, or whatever it may be. But I think that it's important to recognize that we need to break up the day. um, Sometimes I'll joke on Facebook, on social media, and say, I'll show them my cold lunch, like my cold stew that I'm eating, and everyone's like, gross. But they're like, but well, how do you have time to eat? And I'm like, you guys, like, everyone's like joking, lunch, what's that? And trust me, I've been there. We don't give ourselves time for anything. It's always patient care. Boom, boom, boom. And so what I'm really encouraging, so one thing I'll just backtrack really quick, what all of this, these comments on Facebook have kind of spurred for me is I created a course that just went live 3 weeks ago based on how teaching home care clinicians how to be their best selves, how to love on their patients, but also love on themselves and be able to try to reduce that burnout, try to get some longevity and sustainability in the career that they chose. Um, but being able to take a 5 minute break, I mean, how valuable and silly and simple is that? It really is a big deal. Being able to take a 5 minute break in a parking lot and eat, and turn off the music, open up the windows, whatever you need to do. 5 minutes to decompress. I like to encourage always having something to look forward to. All right, so it may be easier said than done, but I'm not talking necessarily on a long-term basis of, hey, gosh, I've got a trip planned to Florida 4 months from now. Yay, I'm looking forward to that. I'm talking like on a day-to-day basis if we can, right? I'll give a small example. One small thing that my wife and I do after work, like we'll share a coffee together, like we'll have a coffee at the end of the day. Um, I look forward to that. I think she looks forward to that. We decompress for a little bit. Our kids are kind of going crazy wherever they are, but we use that time for just decompression. We make it kind of as an intentional thing to talk about the day. Might not have to talk about healthcare because we're both in healthcare. Maybe just talk about the day. We'll go for a walk after dinner, right? Things that we can look forward to that help to just reduce that level of like machine robot like life, right? But also when it comes to planning for things to look forward to, taking your paid time off. I mean, we have it. I know so many people that don't take it or nearly enough. And there was a point in my career when I was in my 20s where I said, oh man, I hope I never get to a point where I desperately feel like I need that paid time off because I love my job so much, right? And I kind of laugh at that now, not because I don't like my job, but we need to decompress. We need time off. We earned it. We deserve it. Our body needs it. Our mind needs it. Our spirit needs it. So I just want to encourage those because like, a lot of people feel stressed taking time off because they're like, oh, then I'm gonna have to catch up when I get back. I'm gonna have to check my emails while we have to have time to disconnect and to decompress. But I also wanted to say one last thing is setting boundaries. There was a time where I would check my emails at 7 p.m. I would accept phone calls from patients at 8 p.m. The stuff, I'm being dramatic, but truly, I used to, right? And unless you set a precedent of what your work hours are, it's going to be really hard to decompress and disconnect. So, if your workday ends at 4, I challenge you to kind of turn things off as best as you can and to take care of yourself and to decompress in the way that you need to and to kind of say, you know what, I'm not going to check these emails again until tomorrow morning. Like it's going to be okay. We're going to be okay. So those are, I think, the big points that I wanted to get to as far as how to really try to find some sustainability because otherwise we find ourselves, I think, on this proverbial hamster wheel of like robotic, like machinery of just boom, 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 never ending. So I hope that helps. I
Yeah,
hope that gives you a couple aha moments.
that
Does.
was incredible. Oh, so go ahead, Pam.
No, I do love how you try to find small ways to be grateful. And I now kind of recognize them like in your content because we are like super grateful for like clean bathrooms or like, we're like, oh my gosh, we love porta potties. Like if you see a porta potty, it's like a gold mine if you're a home care clinician. So being grateful
Yeah.
for just like the little things that is so
Oh,
key.
absolutely. Mhm.
Yeah. And Dan, I loved how you said to always have something to look forward to. I think that is so important. You know, when I was in my 20s, I was the same way. Like I had my main job and I had two side hustles, and it was just all about going. And you do get to that point where you're so burned out that like you stop seeing your patients as patients and
Mhm.
even your coworkers, like it's just so to have to take those breaks, to have something to look forward to. I love how you connect with your wife and remembering why you love your career. Like that's just awesome. Those are just such valuable tips. And I really encourage anyone to follow Dan on Facebook or Instagram. Like he's fantastic. Like if you already haven't
Thank you.
fallen in love with him, you absolutely will. I'm sure you
Thank you.
have many of your elderly um, lady patients who love that you come in.
I thought you were gonna say that they follow me on Facebook. I'm like, ooh, I
Oh,
don't know.
no.
I don't know.
Just get very excited. I know Pam has many elderly men that get very excited when she comes in. I'm sure you have the same. So, and we're just so happy that we had you here tonight. And thank you for sharing those really valuable tips. And check out Dan's website and his new course. That is just really, really awesome. So, is there anything else, Dan or Pam? Oh, I love that. That's a great cut.
There's the course name.
I was
Basically,
gonna say they should make it mandatory. They should make his course mandatory in school.
Yeah, I agree that people should learn those skills before they like get into the field and are burned out. They need to learn them earlier.
yeah.
Exactly.
Prevention is
Because
the best
also,
cure.
yeah.
Exactly.
And I'm telling you what, man. I mean, I know that there are therapists that are, therapists and nurses who have been doing the job for 15, 20 years, but they still can't get home with their paperwork done. And they still find themselves doing it late at night. And there's a lot of bad habits. I'm going to call them bad habits, not to be negative, but truly, I think there's a lot of habits that are hard to break. And so that's one of the things that I really like to talk about because I truly feel like there are many ways. I know that Pam's an efficient expert as well, that we can do our job very well, love on our patients the way they need to be loved, care for them, give them the tools they need, but also care for ourselves and get home because we have lives outside of work too, right?
Right. And you know what? That reminded me, like, if you aren't doing basically what we've kind of learned the hard way, then you are going to burn out and there is going to be attrition and their clinicians will leave the field. And now is not the time. It's like there's 10,000 people turning 65 every single day. We need the clinicians in the field. We need them supercharged. They
Heck
cannot be
yeah.
leaving now. Like we need CPR to the
Yeah,
healthcare
you're right.
field.
Absolutely right.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Critical.
and that's why it's just so important to keep taking care of yourself, And like you said, like so many of us learned the hard way. I love that you are sharing tips to hopefully help younger people or even people who are already at that burnout stage come back to life and
Yeah.
find joy in life again. So that's really great. Um, all right, so in the chat, we dropped all the contact information for both Pam and Dan. So please connect with them. Please follow them on social and interact with them there. They both of them give so many great, great tips about everyday life and the things that they talked about tonight. We also would love to invite you to become a member. It's absolutely free to the Abundant Life community on Facebook. Jojo just put the link in the chat. We would love to have you there. We share all kinds of tips and ideas and tricks. We talk about health and we do a health challenge every month as well. And also, we have a free gift of our new e-recipe book if you join us on Facebook. So we would love to have you. It's a really wonderful group of people, and we love just encouraging and supporting each other. So it's a great place to hang out on the internet. Um, we will be staying on after we are recording. So if you have any questions, like feel free to either ask them now or you could stay on after. And please invite your friends to our next one, which will be on March. I should know it off the top of my head. March 5th, I think. Or Pam, can you help me? Um, It will be March 5th. Yes, because March is the same as February. If you're scheduling a lot, you may have made that mistake. So it will be March 5th. And we would love to have you here and join us next time.
Thank you, Sarah.
Awesome.
Right. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Thank you, Pam. Thank you, Dan. And thank you,
Thank
Jojo.
you.